Hi folks, Dave here. I love the idea of modifying AC appliances to run from DC solar panels directly, but I'm very safety conscious on this channel and I don't want anyone to haphazardly follow my projects and accidentally burn their house down with solar panels. So I made this video in two parts. First, I'm going to explain a little bit about safety when working with solar power, DC voltages, and modifying custom PV2L appliances, plus feature some of my other work on this topic. Then later in the video I'm going to show you a real-world hands-on example of why caution is so strongly advised when trying to power an appliance with DC solar power instead of AC. One great example where I've always tried to be very strict and safety conscious is these PV2L DC space heaters that run off of solar panels. I built over a dozen by now and use them to heat my home and workshop, but they need DC rated tip-over protection and controls. Related videos are linked in the description. Here are some key points. DC solar power should never be run through AC-rated switchgear, thermostats, and contacts in an AC appliance. I've said it before and I'll say it again, just don't do it. You'll soon see why. Second, DC does not behave the same as AC, period. That's why we have DC and AC-rated switches and devices. If a device is AC rated, then you cannot power it with DC safely without putting on the engineering hat and adding the proper safety controls. Many people neglect those steps and the results can be tragic. By the way, there's a lot of extra detail about this topic of AC versus DC in my other videos, especially PV2L heating part 3 and one of my circuit breaker related videos. They're all linked in the description and I highly recommend watching them if only to broaden your knowledge base in these critical areas. Now for a real-world demonstration of why we shouldn't be cavalier and disregard safety standards. This is one of my favorite space heaters. It's the Harbor Freight Parabolic Infrared Heater. I love this heater because it has a sealed heating element, much like a light bulb, that works just fine on about 55 volts DC with zero modifications. No fiddling with nichrome wire or taking apart fragile glass quartz tubes. But as I have already stated in previous videos, all the switches need to be discarded or at least not switch the solar power itself directly. Inside the bottom of this heater is an interesting switch and timer combo. Why is it so interesting? Because it's just like all the other switches in a typical AC space heater, except this one is transparent and lets us look inside while it operates. So here is some footage of a lab test I recorded. The timer switch has not been modified and it's just switching the heating element at around 450 watts. Which is not much of a load. Instead of AC, it's switching at least 55 volts DC, for which it's not rated. I connected some wires in series to get the switch located in front of the camera, otherwise it's about the same as being installed in the heater. Now I'm going to operate the switch, turning the solar power on and off to the heating element, and let's see what happens. This switch only survived about 25 cycles of DC before it finally burned itself out, and that's actually the best case scenario. It doesn't always work that way. It's also important to note that when this switch is installed in the heater, it's less than an inch from your carpet if the heater is sitting on the carpet. You can clearly see that the contact was glowing orange hot, and that is running at a fairly small load. This switch should be able to handle this kind of current, but again, it's DC, not AC, and once that arc gets going, it basically cannot extinguish the arc, and it's like welding. It just destroys the contacts, it melts everything and burns it up, and of course that could lead to a house fire. So the solution here is to not use an AC-rated switch to switch DC loads, especially solar panels, and to use a proper DC-rated switch, circuit breaker, or contactor to do that job for you. So what's the take-home message from this video? It's very simple. First, I've done extensive work in documenting the safety hazards in converting AC appliances to run off of DC. And second, you can never take for granted what happens when you run DC solar power into an AC appliance that just wasn't designed for it. Don't assume anything. This switch is hidden inside the heater and you can't even see it. Of course, I love the idea of running appliances off of DC, but you can't be careless and cavalier. It's not worth burning your house down. We should pay attention to safety and spend the time to do the necessary engineering to make the appliance safe. If you're interested in learning more about this topic, the best videos to watch would be my part 3 of the PV12 space heating series, as well as my DC vs AC circuit breaker video, which goes into great detail about how AC and DC are different and require different types of devices to switch them on and off safely. I hope you find this video useful and helpful. All related videos and playlists are posted in the description. Thanks for watching and hope to see you next time.